And Bob, this mic is all yours.
Good morning. That was a great session we just had with Wayne. There was so much in what you were reading, and that was such a blessing for me. I kept on making comments in the chat, but it was really fabulous. And the beauty of one of the biggest points that I got from it was in saying that God is all in all. There are no exceptions. So anyway, with that, if somebody like Lynn, I guess you're it for now, until some other people show up. If you would just read the truly helpful prayer, which I'm going to post here, and then we'll go on to a piece of music I found that I think you'll enjoy.
I'm with that.
Thank you, Wayne.
I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent him who has sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because he who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever he wishes, knowing he goes there with me. I will be healed as I let him teach me to heal.
Thank you, Wayne. And I managed to find this last week. I hope you'll like it. Oh, wait, before I do that, I'm going to do something here about the share. I'm going to stop it, restart it. Bear with me a minute.
All right.
I had to make sure I was sharing sound.
One day this heart will beat its last. All these moments will be part of the past. The worries I held so close to me will fade like waves back to the sea. The deadlines, the pressure, the fear I knew will vanish with the morning dew. And all that's left of me will be the way I love, the way I breathe. One day, none of this will matter. Not the stress, not the race, not the endless chatter, not the fear, not the weight I carry each day. So why not live this moment all the way? Be myself, speak my truth, feel it second through. 'Cause one day it will all be through. I've spent years living in my head, chasing things that won't matter when I'm dead. Held my breath for a life unlived, gave more than I ever dared to give. But the mirror doesn't care what I own or how far I've come if I'm still alone. The only thing that echoes when we're gone is how we made the world feel less wrong. One day, none of this will matter. Not the titles, not the clothes, not the clatter, not the scrolling, not the likes, not the fame. Only how I showed up in my name. Be myself, speak my truth, feel it second through. 'Cause one day it will all be through. So I'll laugh when I can, cry when I need, say I love you and let myself bleed. I'll stop chasing someday and live today. This is the only time I'm guaranteed. One day, none of this will matter. Not the fear, not the scars, not but not today. So I will live while I still may.
Anyway, as I said, I found that last week and I enjoyed it very much. Good morning, Mickey.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, it is where you are. There are a lot of things that have happened in the last week or so, and I put some of them in my little housekeeping items. And while I get my composure back from listening to that song, I'm going to let somebody read some of the announcements, and then we'll go from there. So whoever would like to, Mickey or Lynn, anybody. And my wife will be here to help read some of the essays today.
I was the announcements. All right, some quick, easy housekeeping items. Starting today at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, Sharon and I will be sharing and discussing more essays. Please join us for a lively discussion on ACIM topics. Everything for today will appear here, so just keep reading and I will activate the essays. Lest I forget, I want to thank everyone for who participates here in ACIM Gather on a regular basis. Your words and insights inspire me and so many of my essays. Free access to Volume 4 of my Spiritual Essays series has expired. Volume 5 is now available on Kindle for free on Sundays and Wednesdays, starting October 1st. Over the years, I had distributed over 1,000 copies of my books for free. Spiritual Essays, Volume 6 through 10, will be published as quickly as possible, while I'm still functioning. What is consciousness? Is now available on the audiobook. Contact me for special codes that will lead to a free copy. I will email free digital copies of any of my books to anyone in our ACIM Gathering family on Zoom or on YouTube. Just pick the titles and ask. Robert@dinojamesbooks.com. I am going to take a lead from Susan Michelle and plug my latest book, Laughing at the Ego. It is now available on Amazon Kindle paperback and hardcover. Free on Sundays and Wednesdays. Free on Sundays and Wednesdays. I just got started creating audio files for YouTube and chapters for the new book. This is the link to my YouTube channel. Scroll to the E series videos. Do you want to read the link?
No, I'll put it in the chat later.
Okay. By the way, if there's an actor in your movie Dream that might benefit any way from my book or essays, feel free to share as far wide as you are led. They're all eventually available on my website. And please take every opportunity to invite folks to any and all our sessions on ACIM Gather. I would love to see others blessed as I have been by being here and watched in your love.
And here's a start of the list of the essays that we have available today. So if somebody wants to pick one, the list is growing faster than I can ever imagine. But anyway, if somebody wants to pick one, we'll read it.
Give me a minute to peruse the list.
Oh yeah, take your time.
Great list.
I have to tell you, I have had more fun putting these essays together. You cannot believe. And the beautiful thing about it is I got my lovely bride is here with me today, who's going to help do some reading later. But she is the one who looks at my essays before anybody else sees them. And some of them get discussed here. Some of them are posted across multiple ACIM sites, including ACIM Gather. And I have to tell you, like here, the response has sometimes been overwhelming. A lot of people on Facebook got a big kick out of the essay called "The Blame Game," which actually was the first chapter in the new book, "Laughing at the Ego." So anyway, I'm going to
I read
scroll
that.
down a little more here so you can see some more of these essays. The list is growing faster than I can keep up with. Sheree, do you have one that you particularly?
I don't know why it's jumping out to me, but I want to read Beyond the Sword of Damocles.
Right.
Beyond this. Oh, yeah. Okay. Um,
Just because
very cool.
I occasionally reference that, the Sword of Damocles, and I don't know where that phrase first appeared to me, but
Mhm.
it's been a favorite of mine.
Well, what you just said is the very reason why I do this the way I do. I mean, I could say, oh, this is my best essay ever. You got to listen to this. No, my best essay is the one that reaches you. So let's
Mhm.
go into and watch, yeah, the Sword of Damocles. Oops, hang on. And I'll enlarge it to make it easier to read.
Yes, please.
Bear with me a minute. Okay, Mickey, how about it?
Alrighty. Beyond the Sword of Damocles, choosing spirit or love over war. An interesting game. The only winning move is not to play, and that's from something called War Games, which I don't.
A movie. Yeah, a movie with,
Oh, it's a movie?
yeah, great movie, by the way. If you ever get to find it, watch it.
Okay. The image of the Sword of Damocles has long symbolized the precariousness of life, the looming awareness that danger or disaster may strike at any moment. In many ways, this metaphor feels more relevant today than ever. As humanity faces the constant shadow of nuclear war, political division, and ecological collapse. Before we go any further, I invite you to pause and listen to Joan Baez's haunting rendition of Where Have All the Flowers Gone on YouTube.
And I'm going to play that right now.
Okie dokie.
Hey, I got an old song. Maybe some of you might like to help me sing it. I'm going to ask my grandson, Tao Rodriguez, to come up here and help me.
Okay, apparently this is not Joan
Where
Baez.
have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone? Girls have picked them, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where have all the young girls gone? Long graveyards. Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time passing. Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time ago. Where have all the graveyards gone? Covered with flowers. Covered with flowers, everyone. When will we ever learn? When will we ever learn?
I gotta get back to it now.
So I was gonna say I did post it. Lucky it was the Pete Seeger one and not the Joan Baez one, because it looked like the Joan Baez one was copyrighted. So that
Okay.
could have thrown us into YouTube jail. So
That worked out well then.
worked out perfectly. Yeah. So is Mickey, are you gonna continue reading?
Sorry, I was muted. The song's gentle refrain, echoing questions of loss and remembrance, reminds us that history often circles back on itself. Wars begin, lives are lost, and once again we ask why. Its sorrowful beauty frames the dilemma we face. How can we keep living fully when the shadow of destruction hangs so close above us? Albert Einstein once warned, "It has become appallingly obvious that our technology has exceeded our humanity." And that was way before AI, huh? These words, spoken generations ago, have only grown sharper with time. We live in an age where weapons of unimaginable power are controlled by leaders driven by fear, pride, or ambition. The tipping point Einstein foresaw is no longer approaching. It has already passed. Humanity's ingenuity has built tools capable of destroying the very world that gave birth to them, while our collective wisdom struggles to keep pace. Much like the sword hanging by a fragile thread above Damocles, our modern world is suspended in uncertainty. We celebrate progress, wealth, and power, yet beneath the banquet table hangs the ever-present threat of annihilation. The question is not merely whether the sword will fall, but how we choose to live with the knowledge of its presence, and whether we can learn to transform fear into wisdom and conflict into compassion. The illusion of victory. History teaches us a sobering truth. No nation has ever truly won a war. There may be victors and vanquished on the battlefield, but the deeper reality is one of mutual loss. After World War II, the Allies celebrated victory, but what followed was years of devastation, rebuilding, and a collective grief so immense it reshaped the world order. Lives lost can never be reclaimed. Homes reduced to rubble, are never the same, and trust between peoples takes generations to restore. And yet, even after enduring such monumental destruction, the world continues to flirt with war as though it were a viable path to peace. This is the madness of the egoic mind, which believes that force and domination can secure safety. In reality, such safety is fragile, temporary, and built upon fear. Peace secured by violence is peace in name only. Even modern wars, whether in distant deserts, urban centers, or cyberspace, have shown us again and again that conflict breeds only more conflict. Terrorism answered with violence begets more terrorism. Occupation answered with resistance spirals into endless cycles of bloodshed. It is as if humanity has learned nothing from its own history, repeating the same patterns while expecting a different outcome. A Course in Miracles and the Sword. Here is where the wisdom of A Course in Miracles offers a radical correction. The Course reminds us nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. The sword of Damocles hangs only in the illusion of fear. In truth, our safety lies not in stockpiles of weapons or treaties signed under duress, but in the recognition that we share one mind, one spirit, one source. The ego insists on separation, nation against nation, ideology against ideology, self against other, but the Holy Spirit whispers another truth. There is no other. What we do to our brother, we do to ourselves. Every bomb dropped on foreign soil detonates within our own hearts. Every wall built to divide erodes the foundation of our shared humanity. The Course also tells us, when I am healed, I am not healed alone. Healing is never solitary because minds are joined. In the same way, peace cannot belong to one nation while another suffers in turmoil. Either we all rise together or we remain chained beneath the sword together. Another lesson reminds us, I can choose peace instead of this. This is not poetic metaphor, but a spiritual law. Choice is the mechanism by which perception shifts. To choose peace is to pull the sword from above our collective head, not by force, but by dissolving the illusion that it was ever real. The fragile thread. In the ancient story, the sword hung by a single horsehair above Damocles' head. Today, that thread may be the fragile balance of diplomacy, the restraint of a single leader's decision, or the failure of one technological safeguard. Humanity lives one miscalculation away from catastrophe. Nuclear weapons, cyber warfare, and environmental collapse all dangle like blades above us, waiting for the smallest tremor to break the thread. The Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962 illustrated this fragility vividly. For 13 days, the world teetered on the brink of a nuclear war. One misstep, one misunderstood communication, one act of aggression could have unleashed global devastation. It was not superior weapons that saved us, but restraint, dialogue, and the willingness to step back from the brink. That delicate moment showed us the truth. Survival depends less on arms than on wisdom. Yet unlike Damocles, We are not powerless guests at another man's table. We are participants collectively shaping whether that thread frays or is reinforced. Our choices, individually and collectively, either strain the horsehair or weave new strands of compassion, wisdom, and restraint into it. The responsibility of awareness. Peace is not a passive dream. It is an active responsibility. To live under the sword of Damocles is to recognize the weight of our choices. Every angry word, every prejudiced thought, every act of violence, large or small, adds weight to the sword. Every act of kindness, every step toward forgiveness, every effort to see our brother as ourselves strengthens the thread that holds it back. As John Stuart Mill observed, bad men need nothing more to compass their ends than that good men should look on and do nothing. This truth cuts to the heart of our times. The silence of those who desire peace but do not act allows fear, violence, and injustice to thrive. If we merely shake our heads at the danger without standing for another way, we contribute to the fraying of the thread. To be aware is to be responsible. To know that our words, votes, and actions carry weight is to admit that we cannot simply live beneath the sword as spectators. We are either hastening its fall or strengthening the thread by what we choose each day. A call to peace. The sword of Damocles should not be seen only as a symbol of looming doom, but also as a mirror. It reflects back to us the reality of our condition. The danger we face is not inevitable, but the direct result of our unwillingness to learn another way. Peace will not come from more powerful weapons or more rigid defenses. It will come when humanity finally accepts that its true power lies in unity, not division. The haunting refrain of "Where have all the flowers gone?" is not just a lament. It is a question posed to us today. Where have the flowers gone? Where has the innocence of our children gone when they are raised under the shadow of the sword? Where has the promise of humanity gone when we invest more in weapons than in wisdom? And perhaps most urgently, where will we go if the sword falls? The answer lies not in resignation, but in resolve. To choose peace is to reclaim the flowers, to plant anew the seeds of a world that does not live under perpetual threat. It is to recognize that the sword above us is not destiny, it is a choice. Choosing again. The Course teaches us the power of choice. I can choose peace instead of this. We are not doomed to live forever with the sword above us. The illusion of threat can be undone by the simple, courageous act of choosing peace. But this choice must be made not only by leaders and nations, but by each of us. We are the dreamers of the dream, and together we can dream a different dream. Peace is not naive. It is the most practical choice we can make, for without it, there will be no future to inherit. The sword will not fall if we collectively decide that it no longer serves us. In conclusion, the sword of Damocles still hangs over our banquet table. Its presence is undeniable, its shadow long, but it need not define our destiny. The real danger is not the sword itself, but our refusal to see that it is of our own making, and therefore within our power to remove. Einstein's warning echoes still. Our technology has outpaced our humanity, but it is not too late to restore a balance. By reclaiming compassion, forgiveness, and the recognition of our shared oneness, we can ensure that the fragile thread holds, not by chance, but by choice. Let us listen again to the Song of Peace, whether sung by Joan Baez or whispered by the Spirit within us. Let us answer the refrain not with resignation, but with resolve. Let us become the generation that choose again, the generation that laid down the sword, and the generation that remembered what it means to be truly human. If you are as concerned as I am, please share this post widely. Thank you. So interesting, we want to be right all the time, and we want to be on the side, on the winning side. And I've kind of given that up recently. I watched a show over the weekend called Brian and Maggie, and it was about the journalist and interviewer in Britain who had some famous interviews with Margaret Thatcher. And I always, thought Margaret Thatcher was, the arch nemesis conservative baddie who ruined economies. And I didn't really know what I was talking about. I just heard what other people said about her and what I read about her and formed an opinion. And in watching these interviews, I began to understand her theory of economics and why she took the positions that she did, and why some people in this country take a position that they do. And I can't explain it very well, but it had to do with the wealth gap, and that the liberals just wanted to make the rich poorer and the poor even poorer, whereas she wanted the rich to get richer in order for the poor to get wealthier. I am absolutely forsaken at economics. I know nothing about it. I can't explain it the way they explained it in this dramatization of their interviews. But for a minute, I got to see the other point of view. Could we eliminate the wealth gap completely? I wish, but I don't really know anything about it. But I do know that some of my opinions were wrong, and that I was laying blame on some people that weren't correct. All I know is we can't all keep saying the other guy's wrong. It's not going to work. It's like fighting for peace. It's one of those things where it just you can't have a war on peace. You can't, it's all gonna obliterate us. The only thing we can do is forgive the only thing we can do is find the equality in our brothers and stop pitting us against them. There's always going to be an us and there's always going to be a them. And what we have to understand is only equals are at peace. And Lynn wrote,
I'm going to jump in here for a second. I can't put my hand up when I'm sharing. So,
okay,
what you're talking about, Mickey, is very true. And it comes down, and this thing about the rich and the poor, the whole thing comes down to the idea that we live in a zero-sum world. In order for me to gain, you must lose. And
right,
that's the fallacy. Once we realize that God is the source of everything, whether it be the food we eat, the money in our pocket, the friends we have, anything, once we come to the realization that God is the source of all those things, then the whole idea of a zero-sum world falls apart.
yeah, and exactly. We've lived in a zero-sum game all our lives, and we just have to realize. And I just lost the point I was trying to make. I'm sorry. Go ahead, somebody else.
I'm going to turn it over for a few minutes here to Cherie. Cherie picked one that she wanted to read or listen to, so I'm going to bring it up. It's the one called Shaking the Dust. And it's taken from one of the stories of Jesus. And again, I've got to get to the size where we can read it. Oops, not far enough. Well, it's not going to where I want it in size. Oh, here we go. Now we got it. Okay.
Shaking the dust, walking away in peace, not judgment. There comes a time in every life when remaining in a situation, a relationship, or even a conversation begins to cost us our peace. It might be a disagreement that keeps looping without resolution, a family dynamic that drains our joy, or an environment filled with negativity. Our human impulse often urges us to stay and fix what feels broken, to argue our point, defend our choices, or make the other person see what we believe to be true. Yet Scripture offers a surprisingly gentle alternative. In Matthew 10:14, Jesus gives his disciples a simple but profound instruction. If anyone will not receive you or listen to your words, shake the dust off your feet when you leave that house or town. At first glance, it may appear to be a symbolic act of judgment, a final dismissal of those who reject the message. But when we look through the eyes of spirit rather than ego, the meaning becomes very different. Jesus was not teaching rejection. He was teaching release. This act of shaking off the dust was never about condemnation. It was about maintaining inner peace. The symbolism of dust. In the ancient world, dust represented the residue of the world, the fragments of human experience that cling to us after every encounter. To shake off the dust meant to let go of any lingering negativity, misunderstanding, or emotional residue that might weigh us down. It was a conscious act of spiritual hygiene, a way of saying, I leave behind what is not mine to carry. When Jesus sent his disciples into unfamiliar towns, he knew not everyone would welcome them or their message. His wisdom was not to fight or debate, but to move forward in peace. The message of love and forgiveness could not coexist with defensiveness or resentment. The disciples were instructed to carry peace wherever they went and not to let rejection contaminate their mission. In our own lives, dust accumulates in many forms: unkind words, unmet expectations, misunderstandings, or feelings of betrayal. These small irritants may seem trivial, yet they cling to our spirit like invisible particles. Shaking them off is not denial, it is release. It is an act of faith in God's ability to transform hearts and minds without our interference.
Sorry.
Walking away without judgment. The ego's instinct is to see walking away as defeat or abandonment. It whispers, they'll think you're weak, you're giving up. But true strength lies in restraint. To walk away with peace is to demonstrate mastery over the need to control outcomes. In A Course in Miracles, we are reminded, when I defend myself, I am attacked. The ego's defenses, argument, justification, accusation, are simply masks for fear. By choosing not to engage, we affirm that there is no attack and therefore no need for defense. This echoes another powerful teaching from the Course. You are never upset for the reason you think. When we are disturbed, it is not because of another person's behavior, but because we have chosen to interpret it through the lens of separation rather than unity. To shake the dust off our feet is to say, I choose peace instead of this. Walking away without judgment means leaving space for grace. It is not about rejecting another soul, but about trusting the Holy Spirit to continue the work where our words can no longer reach. Our responsibility is not to correct or convince. It is to extend love and maintain peace. The rest is God's domain. Choosing peace over being right. One of the Course's most challenging and liberating questions asks, would you rather be right or happy? The ego thrives on being right. It demands validation and victory. But spirit values harmony. When we choose peace over being right, we step out of the ego's battleground and into the quiet field of forgiveness. Imagine leaving a conversation knowing you could have said more, proved your point, or won the argument, but you don't. Instead, you smile, bless the moment, and walk away. In that instant, you have chosen happiness over pride. You have refused to feed the illusion that your peace depends on another's agreement. Peace does not require understanding. It requires willingness. It asks only that we value it enough to protect it. Sometimes that means speaking truth with love. Other times it means saying nothing and simply stepping away. The modern application. How does this teaching apply to modern life? We are constantly bombarded by opportunities for conflict. Online debates, political disagreements, family rifts, social pressures. The world thrives on division because the ego feeds on it. Yet we are called to be bringers of light, not participants in darkness. When someone on social media attacks your beliefs or mocks your faith, you can shake the dust by not replying in kind. When a loved one refuses to see your point of view, you can shake the dust by releasing your need to convince them. When a workplace or friendship becomes toxic, you can shake the dust by stepping back without resentment. This act is not passive. It is profoundly active. It is a declaration of freedom. It says, I choose not to carry this energy forward. I choose to walk with God. What the Course calls true forgiveness. In A Course in Miracles, forgiveness is not about overlooking wrongdoing. It is about recognizing that no real harm has occurred because all minds are joined. The Course teaches forgiveness recognizes what you thought your brother did to you has not occurred. To walk away peacefully is a form of this forgiveness. It acknowledges that our brother's seeming offense was merely a mistaken call for love, and the only meaningful response to a call for love is to offer love, not judgment. When we withdraw from conflict without resentment, we demonstrate love in action. Forgiveness frees both giver and receiver. It cleans the dust from our hearts. It allows us to continue our journey light-footed, unburdened by guilt or grievance. Letting the Holy Spirit lead. Before leaving a situation, we might ask inwardly, Holy Spirit, what would you have me do? Sometimes we are guided to speak, to clarify, or to apologize. Other times, the answer is silence, to simply go in peace. The Holy Spirit never leads us to attack, defend, or condemn. Its guidance always protects peace, not pride. When we follow this guidance, we realize that walking away is not avoidance. It is alignment. We are aligning ourselves with the will of God, which is always love. A lesson in detachment. To shake off the dust is also a lesson in spiritual detachment. Detachment does not mean indifference. It means freedom from emotional entanglement. It means recognizing that our worth and peace are not dependent on external conditions. When we no longer take offense, we rise above the battlefield. We stand in the awareness that everything happening is either an expression of love or a call for love. Both deserve the same response, love itself. The freedom of release. Every step we take in peace affirms our trust in God's plan. The world might interpret walking away as weakness, but in truth, it is strength. It requires courage to stop explaining, stop fighting, and simply let go. When we release others from our expectations, we free ourselves as well. The energy that once went into defending our ego's territory is redirected toward love, creativity, and joy. We learn that peace is not found in being understood, but in understanding. As the Course assures, I could see peace instead of this. Each moment of discomfort is an opportunity to make that choice again. Shaking the dust off our feet is not an act of dismissal, but of devotion. It is the quiet reverence of one who values peace above all else. We do not walk away from people. We walk away from illusions. We leave behind grievances, fear, and false perceptions, taking with us only what is real, the love of God. So the next time we find ourselves in discomfort or conflict, may we pause and remember, we are here to judge. We are not here to judge or defend, but to extend peace. With a gentle heart, we shake the dust from our sandals, not in anger, not in pride, but in gratitude that we no longer need to carry what does not serve our soul. And as we walk on, the echo of Jesus' promise follows us still. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. May we walk lightly with dust-free feet on the holy ground of peace.
Thank you. I'm going to share a little something right now that I think is important. Um, my wife and I have been having a discussion this morning about a situation where this particular essay, which was written about a month ago, has really taken meaning this morning. And I realize that the words we speak, the words I speak, are for no one else but me. I invite any comments at this point, please, while I regain my composure.
Well, I've said that a lot, and who was that put it in the chat? Oh, Deb, our new friend Deb, uh, mentioned something about that um, in a Facebook group that I saw. We're only teaching ourselves. Other people might benefit from it, but really, we're always only teaching ourselves because we're the ones that need to hear what we say the most.
That's very true. Before we go, I just want to remind everybody that this afternoon or tonight, whatever it is for wherever you are, Sharon and I are going to be sharing one or more essays. And of course, we always invite lively discussion. But I will admit there are times when discussion is not called for, but what we gained, what we shared at the end of this essay, which basically was the silence of God. So anyway, I look forward to seeing everybody again tonight, this afternoon, whatever. And at this point, Lynn, I'm going to give it back to you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Bob.
thank you, Robert. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mickey. Thank you, Dove, and thank you, Cherie. I've completely forgot talking to Sharon about doing that thing on Monday nights because I'm traveling. I'm not in my home, so I just put it on the schedule. So that's what we're doing on Monday nights now, Mickey. We were talking about it earlier. Said I don't know, but this will be good. All right, you guys, thank you all so very much.
Yeah, see ya.
And see you at 7 and Eastern, and then be back here tomorrow morning. Love y'all.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.